Hi, my name is Elise and I'm totally obsessed with my luxury garden. Come along and garden with me today. It's the beginning of October here in Tobiano, BC, and I'm going to show you what's growing in my garden in October. I hope I can inspire you to grow a garden and change your life. I'm hoping through gardening in my own backyard that I'm making a difference in this world and creating a system that works not only for me, but for the wildlife and bugs all around me. I'm getting some rain. This is amazing. I look around and I see beautiful flowers. I smell them. It smells delicious. I see bugs, ladybugs, dragonflies, butterflies, and importantly, bees. And I'm so excited to be sharing my own backyard with these animals and insects. So I ask you, when you look around your home, what fragrances do you smell? What do you see? Is there anything different you can do to encourage wildlife and insects in your area to come around so that we can have a biodiverse and flourishing environment around us that makes us feel happy and peaceful? Here we go. I'll show you what I have in my October garden with this rain here today, which is very unusual in our area. Usually it's very dry, but that's okay. I'm actually from Vancouver, BC, where we get a ton of rain. I'm originally from there, so this doesn't bother me at all. Here we go. So just coming down the side of the house here, I have now emptied this veggie bed. It used to have cucumbers and dill in there, but they finished off for the season because they like a lot of heat. So I've put all the remnants from that into the compost and also taken the yellow cucumbers that I left on the vine to allow their seeds to mature. And I took those inside and scooped out all the seeds, which are now drying on my counter on some paper towel. This here is bush bean, and there's still beans on here. I picked a bunch of them yesterday to go into our dinner, and there's still some more left on here. There's too many for us to eat in one sitting, so I've left some on here, and these can keep going. These are potentilla plants that I have here at the side of the bed to allow for extra pollination by attracting bugs with the yellow flowers in spring. And they're still going pretty well, other than this one in the middle. I think it got choked up by some rocks that slid down, but it's still going pretty well. And we're into October here, as I've mentioned a couple times. So let's move on to the other veggie beds. So here in my first veggie bed, I have a variety of squash growing, which is a surprise to me because I planted pumpkin seeds from pumpkins that I had purchased last year in North Vancouver. And this is what has grown from them. These squash and some here you can see like an acorn squash. There's another one through there that you can see, and there's pumpkins over there. So it's amazing what has grown from those seeds that I was not expecting. I have corn still in here that's starting to dry out, and I've cut off the tops of these and put them into my fall planters as a height element at the back of the planters. Kale is still looking great. Here's just a dried up one that I'll pop off right now. I just kind of toss them in there sometimes rather than into the compost because first of all, a bit of laziness if I don't feel like going over to the compost, and it will break down on its own, so it doesn't look the best, but it's not a huge deal if you want to do that. I still have a lot of carrots growing in here. You can see the tops here. We just harvested some last night for dinner. So these are still growing strong into October. These here in the second bed, these are cosmos flowers, which were planted late, so they haven't actually bloomed entirely yet because I planted them late. I think I planted them in July, but you can see if I go close that we have some blooms starting to form and some over here opening up. Next to those are some marigolds in there and pumpkins. So you can see there's some huge pumpkins down here, which I'm super excited about because I wanted to grow my own pumpkins for Halloween. So my daughter's very excited about that. We have white zinnias here that are popping through. Those were also planted late in July, so I'm happy to see that they have produced. There's a beautiful pink one right there. This one's really pretty. I'm going to get the seeds from these to save for next year because I'd like to grow more of these. Originally, I purchased more pink zinnias, but the company accidentally had a mix up and the pink zinnias ended up being bright orange. Into the next veggie bed here, this beautiful Russian sage actually propagated itself into here. I guess the seed blew way over here and landed here, and it just looks pretty, so I left it. Next to that, I have more carrots, which, as you can see, I am just storing them in the ground here. I don't want to pull them up yet, just when I need them, I grab them. Same with these beets. I have some beets along here, along the edge. These are doing well. You can see just the beet kind of poking through there. So it is ready to go. I just haven't wanted to eat it yet, so it's still in there. Ton of chives over there, which are next to these marigolds that smell unbelievable. I brought a bunch of these inside my house and they're in a vase on my table and they just smell unbelievably amazing. Also have corn stalks in here again. I'm just going to let these dry out and I'll probably use them as a mulch on top of my strawberries and blueberries, which are over that way. I'll get to that. So I'll have to do a video on what I do with these big... Sorry, the dog keeps barking. Hopefully that's not too loud in the background. But anyhow, on this end, I have more chives. This is all Swiss chard, which is actually bolted, and we haven't been eating because it went a little bit bitter. But I've just left it in here because it looks really pretty. And it's kind of amongst the marigolds. So cosmos, marigolds, corn, beets, carrots, chives, and Swiss chard in this bed. This bed had potatoes and I harvested all of them. They're all drying in my garage. I'll have another video on that. And then these two plants here are sprouts from my nectarine tree, which is over there. They kind of popped up at the bottom, at the base of my nectarine tree. So I put them in here in the hopes that they will root and survive the winter, and then I can transplant them into a different area of the garden, possibly in the future. But we'll see if it survives because winter is upon us. Some construction happening. Hopefully that's not too loud. Okay, next bed. This is veggie bed number 5. I have watermelons, bunch of strawberries, snapdragons, marigolds, and there are blueberry bushes in there. Let me get closer. So as you can see, I have some huge watermelons in here, which I am going to be doing a video on and harvesting in the next little while. Lots of strawberries amongst here. And then I can put the carrot tops in here. After I eat carrots, I put them in here as a mulch to insulate these strawberries, because as we go into winter, it's going to be a bit too cold in our environment for these strawberries. Like, they may survive, maybe not. So I'm just doing that to kind of insulate them for the winter, to hopefully have them survive. There's some more watermelons throughout here, and these snapdragons just look unbelievably gorgeous, especially next to these marigolds. So for October, this is just completely fabulous. I love how this is looking. And final veggie bed on the end here, there are 3 pepper plants, which are still producing, 2 tomato plants, still producing an insane amount of tomatoes. Next to that, I have basil, and then this is all asparagus here, which was planted here just this year, so I haven't harvested anything. You have to let the root system grow for the first couple years. here are the peppers. They look really, really good. Banana peppers. And as you can see, I'm still getting more tomatoes. And I've already harvested at least 50 pounds, and this is only 2 plants. There's even more over here. So they're starting to dry out, as you can see, but still, oh wow, look at that, even more. And then again, they're next to the asparagus. I'll just show you the asparagus is looking really good. A couple months ago, the asparagus was flopping over, and I did a video on that, so check out what I did to help my asparagus out when it was flopping. So these are the 6 veggie beds looking amazing. And then of course I have my flower beds over there. You can see I have dahlias, the pink dahlias. Purple is Russian sage. Right beside me here, black-eyed Susan. I have grasses. This here is my nectarine tree. It's looking pretty good. Firelight hydrangeas are the pink ones there. Pink sedums. It's looking very, very beautiful. These here are cat's pajamas, Nepeta, or Nepeta, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. Over there, the dahlias are still looking good, but it is getting cooler, so I'm going to have to dig up the tubers soon. You can see there's a lawnmower out in the distance there cutting the golf course, but that is going to be shutting down soon. So the entertainment of the golf course is coming to an end soon. Into the seating area here, there's a bunch of alyssums here looking beautiful. I have snapdragons. This is a rainbow mix of snapdragons. White zinnias here sticking up. And then these are all the orange zinnias that were supposed to be a salmon pink. You can see some of them have a little bit of pink to them at the bottom here, but the majority of them are this orange color, which is just not in my color preference list. I'm not a huge fan of orange flowers, so I was a little bit disappointed that these didn't turn out the salmon pink color they were supposed to be. But West Coast Seeds, where I purchased them from, has now sent me a new seed packet. I didn't go with the one that I was supposed to have this year in case they turn out orange again. Instead, I went with more of these rainbow snapdragons because I absolutely love the color palette of the pastels, pale yellow, some pinks and whites. That's what I really love. So I'm going to do those again next year. So that's pretty much the flowers for this area. Goes on that way, and there's some more over here. This walkway here at the side of the house is definitely a work in progress. Eventually along here I want to do a boxwood hedge because I don't have a lot of winter interest in the garden yet. And then along here I need to do a lot more work. The hosta was beautiful this summer, this one here, but these were just kind of thrown in there without much thought. So I'm gonna have to do some work on this area. But the lawn is looking fabulous, very vibrant green. As you can see, everything is just flourishing right now. It looks stunning. I'm also super happy with how my front garden is looking because at the start of the season there was basically nothing in this bed. So I've added all these cedars at the side. These are salvia. These taller dark purple ones are salvia. These are cat's pajamas, Nepeta. Tidbit firelight hydrangeas. I have a grass here, and these here are Russian sage. Grasses, dianthus. This is a Japanese maple tree, which I thought was going to die after our extremely cold winter, but it looks like it's okay and it's surviving. Hopefully it's going to do well through this winter and continue to grow. But I'm extremely happy with how this is looking. This is Coreopsis here and sedums. I have a few sprouts here, a few seedlings that I planted. This was a cutting from a firelight hydrangea. This is a Russian sage, so we'll see if either of those survive. Another cutting from a firelight hydrangea, which is looking a little rough, but we'll see how that does. That's mint in the pot there, Russian sage. I have an iris, purple iris there. And the view is just amazing. And then coming up towards the front, this is a hedge of firelight hydrangeas. In front of it is a lavender and white sweet alyssum. Next to that are grasses and limelight hydrangeas. These two here are limelight hydrangeas. Sweet alyssums, and then here is my fall planter. And again, as I mentioned before, these at the back are corn stalks that I just cut off at the back of my house where the veggie beds are. I cut them off and I literally just stuck them into the planters here for some height at the back. So that is the front / side of the house, and I've done the veggie beds. Last spot is the very, very front garden next to the road. So this is the last flower bed I'm going to show you. These here are Sweetie Pie Dianthus. These here are salvia plants. Moonbeam coreopsis are the pale yellow, and then it is a sweet alyssum hedge at the edge. Looks very, very nice against the bright green grasses. So that's the end of the October tour. I hope that this inspires you to get going with your own gardening. And as you can tell, it's worth it as it goes all the way into fall, and it just looks stunning. If you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching me as I walk through my garden in October and show you what I have growing and show you that you can still continue to grow a garden into fall. There's bugs swarming around me right now, and it is keeping me happy and healthy to come out here every day and go into the garden and see what's growing. I'm still bringing fresh fruit inside every day. And so I'm absolutely loving this. So happy gardening and have a great day. Bye.